And up to the actual trial date, which was yesterday. It was all meant to begin. I have to say, I was quite looking forward to a trial. We would have heard from Harry himself in court, as we did against in one of his other cases, 18 months or so ago. However, a judge said, look, phone hacking at the Sun happened, the allegations happened so long ago, we can't hear those. So therefore, that was always ruled out. But, just think about how close they got. They not only got to the day of the trial, which was yesterday in the UK, his lawyers said, we're really close to a deal, and they went back to the judge this morning, and then the whole thing just went away. It was meant to last for 7 or 8 weeks, and this morning the deal was done, and this trial they were all ready to go for, and they were in court ready to hear, all went away. It was stopped in its tracks.
Hello everyone, welcome back. TOC News Channel. Chris Ship's troll, ship sinks, no trial, no pay, just bitterness as Prince Harry wins big. That is our story tonight. It's another brutal day for the British tabloid press, and this time, ITV's royal editor Chris Ship finds himself in choppy waters. Once considered a reliable mouthpiece for royal reporting, Ship's credibility seems to have taken a nosedive, much like the tabloids he so dutifully defends. While he spent years giving favourable coverage to palace-approved narratives and subtly undermining Prince Harry and Meghan Markle, it appears the tide has turned. Prince Harry has secured yet another major legal victory against the press, and Ship is left floundering in frustration. For years, Chris Ship positioned himself as a respectable journalist, but in reality, he often played the role of a tabloid-friendly commentator, taking veiled swipes at the Duke and Duchess of Sussex. His reporting, while cloaked in the guise of impartiality, frequently echoed the very narratives pushed by the same British media that Harry has been battling in court. But now, as Prince Harry racks up legal wins against the same press that hounded him for decades, Ship and his fellow royal reporters are left licking their wounds. Harry's most recent legal triumph is a significant one. He successfully held the tabloids accountable for their unlawful activities, ranging from phone hacking to other forms of illegal information gathering. The prince has been relentless in his fight for justice, proving that the media's shady tactics would no longer go unpunished. But what truly stings for reporters like Ship isn't just the financial ramifications for the press, it's the fact that Harry's persistence is exposing the deep corruption within British tabloid journalism, an industry that Ship and his colleagues have long defended, whether explicitly or implicitly. Chris Ship, like many of his peers, had been counting on the usual tactics to play out, drag things out in court, muddy the waters, spin the narrative, and ultimately ensure that the press comes out unscathed. But this time, it didn't work. There was no drawn-out trial, no opportunity for the media to frame Harry as unreasonable or difficult. The case was settled in Harry's favour before it could even get to trial, a clear indication that the press had no real defence. The result: no drawn-out courtroom drama, no chance for the media to spin their version of events, and most importantly, no payday from endless coverage of the case. Ship's frustration has been palpable. His attempts to downplay Harry's legal victories have only made him look increasingly bitter. While he's never been as overtly hostile as some of his more aggressive tabloid counterparts, his carefully worded reports often carried the same dismissive undertones. He routinely framed Harry and Meghan's legal battles as excessive, unnecessary, or attention-seeking. And yet, when the verdict started rolling in, showing that the prince had been undeniably wronged, Ship's commentary grew noticeably strained. What makes this situation even more embarrassing for Ship is that his credibility is now being called into question. Royal correspondents like him have long positioned themselves as experts on the monarchy, but their coverage has consistently been slanted in favour of the institution. Prince Harry, by taking on the press and winning, has made it abundantly clear that much of what these so-called royal experts have been reporting for years was either misleading or outright false. The narrative that Harry and Meghan were simply paranoid, overly litigious, or desperate for attention has crumbled under the weight of actual evidence, and so, the irony is almost poetic. Ship's so-called troll ship, his persistent and often snide reporting on Harry's actions, has well and truly sunk. There's no trial to milk for coverage, no lucrative scandal to keep viewers engaged, and worst of all for him, no defense for the media's unethical behavior. What's left is just the bitter realization that Harry was right all along. The press did engage in unlawful activities, they did target him unfairly, and they did everything they could to silence him. But instead of backing down, Harry fought back, and won. While Ship and his fellow reporters scrambled to save face, the damage has been done. The prince's victory is another nail in the coffin for the credibility of royal correspondents who have spent years enabling the worst excesses of the British media. As the dust settles, it's clear that Harry isn't just winning cases, he's dismantling an entire industry's ability to operate with impunity. And for reporters like Chris Ship, who once thrived in that ecosystem, the sinking feeling of irrelevance must be setting in. Chris Ship's embarrassing downfall, how Prince Harry's victory exposed the royal reporter's bias. Chris Ship's reputation as a royal journalist has taken a serious hit, and it's not just because Prince Harry won his latest legal battle against the British tabloids. No, what makes this situation especially humiliating for Ship is how his years of biased reporting, dismissive commentary, and carefully worded digs at the Sussexes have now been exposed as nothing more than the desperate floundering of a reporter trying to stay in the good graces of a press industry that has been proven corrupt. For years, Ship has carefully crafted his image as a so-called neutral journalist. Unlike some of his more aggressively anti-Sussex colleagues, such as Piers Morgan or Dan Wootton, Ship has always tried to present himself as professional, measured, and objective. But anyone paying attention could see the pattern: subtle jabs at Harry and Meghan, framing their decisions as dramatic or unnecessary, and always siding with the royal institution while downplaying the Sussexes' struggles. But now, with Harry's latest victory exposing how deeply unethical the British press truly is, Ship is facing a credibility crisis of his own. How does someone like him, who has spent years brushing off Harry's concerns as overblown, suddenly pivot now that the courts have confirmed that the prince was right all along? It's an embarrassing situation because it forces Ship to acknowledge something he clearly never wanted to admit, that he has been complicit in a system designed to silence and discredit the very person he's been covering. The legal win that Ship didn't want to talk about, Prince Harry's latest court victory against the tabloid press, wasn't just a win, it was a resounding confirmation that the media engaged in illegal and unethical behavior. The case was so damning that it didn't even need to go to trial, the evidence was overwhelming, and the media companies involved had no defense. That in itself is humiliating for people like Ship because it means there was never any real debate about whether Harry was telling the truth. The press was guilty, full stop. Ship, like many royal correspondents, had built a career on the idea that Harry was overly sensitive, too emotional, or even delusional in his claims against the press. He often used dismissive language, painting Harry's legal actions as extreme or unnecessary. And yet, here we are, with solid proof that Harry had been right all along. So what does Ship do now? He can't exactly go on TV and say, "Oops, I guess I was wrong." Instead, he's been awkwardly dodging the topic, downplaying the significance of the win, or shifting the focus onto anything else that might keep the public from noticing just how wrong the British press has been. No trial, no pay. The financial blow that stings even more, adding to Ship's humiliation, is the fact that this case didn't even make it to trial. Normally, a high-profile case like this would have been a cash cow for royal reporters. They could have spent months analyzing every detail, running endless articles speculating on what might happen next, and profiting off the scandal. But this time, there was no drawn-out legal drama, no long court battle to milk for views, just a swift and decisive ruling in Harry's favor. That means Ship and his fellow reporters didn't even get the satisfaction of turning this into a profitable media circus. Instead, they were forced to sit and watch as the tabloid industry took yet another devastating hit, with no way to spin the situation to their advantage. It's almost poetic. After years of profiting off Harry's pain, the press was finally forced to pay up, without getting a chance to make money off the process. The hypocrisy of royal reporters exposed. One of the most embarrassing parts of this situation for Ship is how it highlights the sheer hypocrisy of royal reporting. When Meghan Markle successfully sued the Mail on Sunday for publishing her private letter to her father, royal reporters, including Ship, reacted as if she had committed some kind of crime against journalism. They suggested that she was attacking the press, that she was too thin-skinned, that she just didn't understand how media scrutiny worked. But now that Harry has won yet another case against the press, those same reporters are suddenly silent. Where's the outrage about media ethics? Where are the lengthy discussions about how damaging illegal press behavior can be? Nowhere, because admitting that Harry was right would mean admitting that they have spent years actively misleading